So sometimes I look at some of the records on my shelf and I kind of think, do I have too many copies of that? Hello and welcome guys. So then today of course we're going to be going over another discussion video. So I very rarely do these discussion videos, so when I do one I actually enjoy it a lot more. I think this is the 6th one on my channel. I think the last one was when I talked about my experience when I went to see Paul McCartney live in concert. So it's not often that I do these, but when they do come along they're always fun to film. So anyway, today's topic is going to be me talking about when is it basically when have you gone overboard when it comes to owning how many copies of an album. You know, because I've got God knows how many copies of like Ram here, for example, which is one of the ones I'm going to use, and I have about 7 or 8 copies of it now, and it's like, have I gone overboard? You know, because some people it's like one and done for an album, and I completely get that. One album is enough. Once I got one, I can hear the music, it's all on there, that's good enough for me. But you know, some of us out there, including me sometimes, just depends on what album it is, like to collect a lot of different variations of one album. I know that in the Beatles community there's a lot of people who just love to get all the first pressings, the second pressings, the third pressings, so forth, so forth. So this video is basically going to be me just blabbering on, just rambling about how far we can go when it comes to buying our vinyl records. So anyway, got a Coca-Cola here with me today. This is going to be my trusty companion for today's video. As my granddad would say, I'm in the mood for killing myself a bit today. He hates it when I drink Coke, so I just drink it to annoy him. And then I just nearly finished my lunch, and I got these on the floor. A packet of Walker's Pouring Cocktail Crisps. Look at them. They're lovely. I love these bad boys. But anyway, let's get down to the topic. Oh, also, I've got 2 shout-outs to do really quick. One to my sister. It's her birthday. Happy birthday, sis. Second one up, I want to do it now. I will also do this in my next vinyl update, but I'm not in a vinyl buying mood at the minute, really, so I don't know when my next vinyl update will be. So I'm going to show them now. Trish Mullins. Trish, how you doing, Trish? I hope you're watching. I'll send you a little note, so hopefully you don't miss this. But I want to give you a big shout out because I got some fantastic VCLT from you. So I got a nice note from Trish here, saying, "Hi James, watch your videos and writing this, and really it's been a while since I sent you anything. I'll be putting together a package with stickers and mixes for you tonight. If you have time, I'd love a mix or 2 from you. Your first one was a blast. Peace, love and music, Trish." So it's really cool. I got Trish's autograph there. So I got 2 really cool mixes. There's number 1, Here's to the Future, and Firehouse Rock here, the second one. Got some kind of bit reggae on there. And then, as she said, she did not lie, there's a load of cool stickers in here. Just flip through these really quick. I like that one. I've got to say, I think this one's my favourite, Trish. I like that one, that one's cool. And yes, I am actually in the very early stages of making my next mix. It's been a year since I've done a mix, can you believe it? First one that I done was Shiny Happy People. I believe I sent one to Trish, Animate's Heaven, and Robert Z, I think, got one of these. The second one I will be making soon, and hopefully I'll have it with you guys for Christmas. You know, I'll just send it out to kind of the people in the community that like sending mixes. Obviously I can't send too many because postage is ridiculous, but hopefully I'll get 4 or 5 out to some of my very good friends here in the vinyl community. But anyway, that's it. You know, thanks again, Trish. It was a complete shock. I know you mentioned in the comments on one of my videos that you had in mind that you wanted to send me something. Didn't realise that you'd actually sent it, so it turned up yesterday. I was like, oh wow, this is brilliant. But anyway, as I say, I wanted to do all that now because my next final update might be quite a while off. But anyway, let's get down to the actual topic of the video here. I've rambled for far too long already and we haven't even started. I have one more quick drink. Okie dokie. Let's get started. So then, how far can you go when you're buying your vinyl records? Well, for me, it all depends on the artist. See, I've brought down my Rams here, for example. I've brought down Rams, or as one of my examples. So here's all the copies which I own of Ram. Oh, let me do it like this. So I have my original UK pressing, which is a must-own for me. And then also at the same time, records were being produced in 71, Apple records were being produced in France. And a lot of them would come over here. So here's my French copy, which I also am really pleased I have. Now, if I had to get rid of any of my copies of RAM, this would be the one. I have an Italian pressing. And the only reason I have this is because I got it for a penny with like £3 postage in an auction on eBay. So I thought, why not? I'll take it. And of course, the album got reissued. So I bought the double CD, and I bought the vinyl record, and I bought the vinyl record on mono, and then I got the box set. So hang on, how many copies here we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then in here you get 7, and you get the mono, that's 8. And then whether or not you want to class Frillington as being RAM, because it's basically an instrumental version, that's up to you. So we can say 8.5, we'll say 8.5, so 8 going into 9. So, is that too many copies of that album? For me, I don't need the Italian one, but I would not give up any of the others. My plan is actually to put the Italian one in a picture frame on my wall. So I do have a use for that, actually. But if someone said, okay, we're going to take away one of your RAMs, I'd say, okay, take away the Italian one. And then if someone said we're going to take another one away, then I'd be like, oh no. Because I generally would not part with any of the others at the minute. So, as I say, it just depends what album it is. With that one now, I'm pretty happy with my RAM. I don't think there's anything else for me to get on it at the minute. But, now, when you take other albums, like, I'm going to pick on Art Garfunkel here a bit. You know, I love Simon and Garfunkel, but solo, them two, yeah. So I thought, okay, I'm going to pick on one of them. So I'm going to pick on Art Garfunkel a bit. Now, I know he's got his fans out there. The small portion of people who like his solo stuff. So it's nothing against the music, really. But for me, as I'm not a big fan, you know, I'm just going to hold up this one here. This is a Breakaway. So this album here, actually, it isn't awful, this album. It's just kind of a bit boring, in my opinion. Of course. I know there's fans out there of it. The fans out there of this album, all I have to say to you is well done for liking it. I'm pleased you enjoyed it. But for me, I find it a bit boring. And, you know, one copy of this album is good enough for me. Now, and as I like Simon and Garfunkel together, I kind of pick up their solo stuff when I find them cheap. However, would I go into collecting like several copies of this album or several copies of Graceland? No way. No way, because in my mind, them albums are not good enough for me to buy multiple copies of. So for me, I think, you know, it's kind of a bit, as I say, I keep coming back to depending on what album it is. And see, this RAM is one where I can buy multiple copies of, but I actually think I'm done with it now. Whereas kind of solo Garfunkel stuff, no. I don't need one copy of, I'm not going to say each of his albums, because I don't need a copy of each of his albums, but like one copy of his more popular albums really is all I need. Okay, I'm going to have another drink now. Slurping. But now we're going to move on to talking about something a bit different. I collect them copies of RAM because, you know, you got the original, you've got the mono, and you've got the stereo, and you've got like the cool box set. So you kind of get different versions. You upgrade on the sounds, upgrades on the cover and whatnot, what you get, the packaging. Now, I know in the Beatles community, which I consider myself to be a part of. I mean, I'm not as active with the Beatles stuff anymore. I mean, they're still my favourite band. I still love them. But when I started out in the vinyl community, for example, I was really just going down the Beatles route. I was just doing lots of Beatles stuff. Whereas now I've diversed into other things on my channel. And so I'd still say I'm part of the Beatles community because I love them. They're my favourite band. I still love talking about them. I still love posting about them. I just don't do it as much as I used to. But, you know, the Beatles community, everyone loves to get, like, the individual pressings. The first pressing, the second pressing, the third pressing. And I got to admit, it's pretty damn fun. Because, you know, as I say, when I started out and I was collecting just Beatles stuff, I was exactly the same. So that's another format of why people buy lots of different versions of each album. See, I'm going to go over my With the Beatles here. Now then, of course, I have the stereo CD, the mono CD, and the stereo vinyl from the 2012 box set. Pardon me, it's the coke getting to me. But I didn't bring them down because they're in, as I say, box sets. You know, I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to go through all the effort of pulling all these CDs out of all these box sets. But, you know, so that's 3 versions of the album there. Then I got my original mono. It's 4. And then I got another mono, which the other one was an upgrade of. This one here is a first pressing as well, and this one's a second. So that's 5. And then I know this one's not in good condition, but this was my dad's. My dad didn't do this though. I think it belonged to my nan's nephew or something like that before my dad. So I think he did it, not my dad. Because my dad took really good care of his records, I must say. But anyway, as it's come through my family, sentimental feelings, I'd never get rid of it. Here's my other copy of With the Beatles. So 6 copies there. And here's a really nice condition original mono. I think it's a 3rd pressing. So that's 7. And then here's the money bag one. An original first pressing stereo. See, it's original. It's got fold over corners. So that's 8. And then here, even though this one here does have a different track listing. So, but this is my Capital Rainbow American pressing. So that's 9. So that's 9 copies of one album. Do I need all of them? No way. No way, Jose, do I need all of them. Would I part with some of them? There's a couple in that pile I could. I don't want to, but if I had to, if I was in dire need of money, for example, then I could easily pass on them. Or part with them, you know. But, I get why people collect like that, because the pressings are fun. It's kind of a fun thing to get into, especially if you are in love with a band like the Beatles, because so many people are. It's like, sometimes it's like, I get in those moods today where I'm like, I don't want to listen to anything else. I just want to hear some Beatles. I don't even want to hear those solos. Don't throw Imagine at me. I just want the Beatles. I want all 4 of them together. So I completely understand why people, would want to just go collect their albums on vinyl. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. It is really fun. As I say, they're just amazing. And I know that there are other people out there who do it with other bands, like Led Zeppelin. Some people just collect Led Zeppelin. Some people just collect Pink Floyd. And they'll just get like 100 versions of just of Dark Side of the Moon just to get the different pressings. And it's like, that is fine. But, for me, it all comes down to what album it is. Dark Side of the Moon, for example. Do I need any more copies of that? From my last vinyl, I have 2 copies of it. I bought 1 copy about a year ago. And then I got another copy about 2 weeks back. In a kind of novelty shop. It stocks DVDs, CDs, books and records. So they didn't really know what they were selling. But they had a Dark Side of the Moon, their original first pressing, for £5 with the 2 posters. It was in mint condition, both stickers. So I picked it up. Do I need any more copies of Dark Side of the Moon? No, because I've got one in my CD box as well. So I got it on CD and I got a brilliant copy of it on vinyl. For me, that is enough when it comes to that album. And, I think it's kind of just the gist of what album it is. Ram, I'm definitely done on. The Breakaway Art Garfunkel one, I think 1 could be too much sometimes. With the Beatles, they're the Beatles, so I could go on for ages with them. But do I need any more? I don't think I need any more copies with the Beatles, because I got an original first pressing, mono and stereo, and then I got an American pressing, and then I've got a new 2012 stereo. So that's really all I need. And then, of course, I would like to get the mono box set. So I keep saying I think I'm done with the Beatles, but I'm going to end up getting another version when I get the mono vinyl box set. But, as I say, there's very different ways of collecting. And my opinion of, going back to the start of the video, when is enough enough? I don't think it ever can be, if I'm being honest. I know, so as I say, there are some people out there, some people I talk to, some people I know, and they say, one to do me, if it sounds good, I'll do me. It's like, well, that's brilliant. I mean, you're going to be the one who saves more money and ends up with more music in your collection. But then there are others out there, and as I say, with certain albums, I come under this category, and with other certain albums, I'll come under the other category where it's one and done. where it's like, nah, if I find different pressings, I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to do it. So it's kind of, it's kind of a difficult topic to talk about, really. When is enough enough? I think with certain albums, it reaches a point. With Ram, I am done with it now, I'd say. Of course, I'd get Frillington on vinyl, the instrumental version, but I don't know if you really class that as Ram anyway. But that one's super rare, so I don't think I'm going to be getting that one anytime soon. Albums like with the Beatles, I don't think I'm ever going to be done with that, because as I say, I'm going to get the mono vinyl box set at some point, and it's going to be in there. There'll be more box sets come out to do with the Beatles in the future, which I will buy, and it will be in there. There will be more and more remastered versions over time, which I will buy. But then it comes back to albums like Simon and Garfunkel solo stuff, Art Garfunkel, Paul Simon. It's like, one album, one copy of some of their albums is good enough for me. Same with Ringo Starr, for example. I love Ringo, he's great as well. Like I love Paul Simon and Simon and Garfunkel. They're both fantastic musicians. Fantastic songwriters, I'd say, for them too. Ringo, he's got a good skill on the drums, definitely, and he's got a really fun personality. But one copy of each of his albums is roughly enough. I say that, but then again, I think I have like 2 copies of the self-titled Ringo album, so... But, it's just my opinion. I know that there are some big Paul Simon fans out there and some big Ringo Starr fans out there. And I get that. I get it. I'm like, yeah, you guys like it. That's fair enough. You go buy all them. But for me, it's like, one copy of them. I like both of them artists. So it's like one copy of each of their albums is good enough for me. So when is enough enough? Enough is enough for me with certain albums. It all comes down to what album it is. And I think it's going to be that way for a lot of people. Like in the Beatles community, it's never going to be enough. Like for me, with Beatles albums, it's never going to be enough. But when it comes to other things, I don't know, let's stray away from the Beatles and go to another band like... let's talk about ELO. I haven't talked about ELO yet. For me, I love ELO, they're my second favourite band, but for some people, like in the Beatles community, not everyone in the Beatles community is going to like ELO. They might like them a bit, where it's like, yeah, I'll get one copy of each of their album, and they're not going to be like me, because I really like them. I've got like several copies, I've got about 2 or 3 copies of each of their albums now. Different versions, obviously. But for some people, it'd just be like one. It's a Spanish, say you get a Spanish copy and it's like you find a original first pressing British one out in charity shops. People just, I've got a Spanish one, it's good enough, it sounds good. And, I get that. I completely get it. So it's very much, this topic here, what it really comes down to, I think, is very opinionated. What your opinion is on these albums. If you don't like the album that much, then one copy of it is probably going to be good enough for you. And if you love the album, you're probably going to keep going with it. And that's me, as I say, with the Beatles, love the record, I'm going to keep going with that. Breakaway by Art Garfunkel, I'm already done. So, I think these albums are all fun to collect and whatnot, I could go on ages just buying copies and copies of this album. I love it to bits, but... I know there are some people out there who won't. So anyway, I'm not trying to rag on any artists in this video, so I don't want people to think that. I'm just talking about, how many... you guys got the gist now. I don't need to keep repeating myself. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the video. There's no kind of final answer. It's just a discussion video, as I say. It's just me rambling. So, yeah, I think it'd be fun for you guys to leave your comments... your opinions of this discussion video in the comments. Let me know when you think enough is enough, and if you agree, it depends what album it is, or even if it's an album you love, like with the Beatles or Sgt. Pepper, maybe for some of you it's like, well, that is one of my favourite albums, but I still only need one copy of it. So, yeah, it'd be fun for you guys to let me know what your opinion is down in the comments below. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble for nearly 20 minutes. Please like the video, please subscribe, and please leave a message. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.
Old friend sat on their park bench.